Hi, recording is up, and here goes the stream. Tell me if you can see everything.
I can see.
Hi, so
Yeah.
Erend,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
yeah. So we are going to start with the pretty basic stuff that almost everyone knows about, and this stuff is the AS Val, which is kinda close relative to another gun called VSS Victorez, and these guns basically like two twin brothers. They were developed for a KGB recon elements that would have been used behind the NATO lines in case the Third World War would have kicked in and gone hot. And these rifles were developed uh, to match three special requirements. First requirement, this rifle should be as quiet as possible, so no supersonic ammunition, and it would have been better if the gun would have received an integral suppressor, so it has an integral suppressor. Second, this gun should be just as light and as compact as the AKS-74. So the gun is comparable to the AKS-74 in terms of size and mass, and this gun should be capable of penetrating the standard NATO helmet at a distance of 400 meters. So this gun is capable of doing that. What is the special about this gun? It uses 9 by 39 millimeter ammunition, which is by itself subsonic, and it has a very big and heavy bullet. This is done to have basically a low velocity but very high energy bullet that would be capable of penetrating the armored helmets, armored vests, and have pretty high lethality factor at any kind of given distance that would be picked by the GRU Special Forces operators. Uh, the difference in the real life between AS Val and VSS Vintorez I'm going to show you right now. So this is AS Val, this is VSS Vintorez. In game it is not very difficult, it is not very different. They kinda have the same characteristics and can mount every single attachment the normal Soviet gun can mount. But in real life the difference between them is in the technology of the barrel production. So VSS Vintorez is somewhat more accurate, but if you fire a specialized armor-piercing ammunition SP6, the barrel is going to wear out much faster than the barrel on the AS Val. So the barrel on the AS Val is made a bit more off, but it is not wearing out as fast as the VSS Vintorez does. This weapon complex was developed and put into production in the 1985-1986, and there are some rumors that VSS and AS-VAL were used by the GRU operators in the Afghanistan as a replacement for the normal AKM for the 7.62mm ammunition, with the PBS, which is basically a suppressor. So this gun was used probably in Afghan, and hella sure it was used in first, second Chechen wars. It was used in conflict in Nagorno-Karabakh, which just finished, as you know. Overall, this gun is pretty good if you want to engage anyone at the distances of basically point blank to 400 meters, because having a subsonic ammunition means you have a very high trajectory of bullet if you want to hit everything at a distance, and the bullet is traveling pretty slow, so you need to give a lot of additional adjustment if you want to hit a moving target, which is not really an option with a subsonic ammunition. Do you have any questions for now for this complex?
No, not on this end.
So, the VSS, Vintorez and AS Val were nice weapons, but having an integral suppressor means that the weapon is going to be dirty very fast, and having non-standard mechanism, it kinda reminds of an AK, but still non-standard, means that you need to put additional effort to produce these guns. And for a standard army special forces, there was an Otze 14 Groza assault rifle developed for the same ammunition, 9x39. So this is the variant that was produced the most. Just so you know, the difference between all of these is in additional aftermarket kits. You don't necessarily need to produce the special 7.62 or 9x39 rifle. You can basically rechamber it by yourself. And if you want to use subsonic ammunition with a high penetrating capability, go for a 9x39. If you want to go loud, use 7.62. Pretty logical, isn't it? And as an additional feature of this gun, you would receive a GP25 kinda integrated underbarrel grenade launcher. Why is it integrated? Well, because the rifle itself has the same trigger as the underbarrel grenade launcher, and you would have a switch up here that you need to flip if you want to go for the assault rifle or for the grenade launcher. Kinda finicky stuff.
Oh, so basically, with us in Arma 3, we keep on getting confused as to whether or not we have GL selected or single selected. This is actually happening in real life with this gun. They
Yeah,
could fire off the GL by mistake. That
that's
sounds like a terrible system.
yeah. And as you can see, the Groza is based on the AK-74 rifle, so you have the same stamped top cover, same back front trunnion, handguard. The difference is you would have the long rod going over there in the rifle itself, and basically pulling onto the trigger that is located over here, just like on the normal AK rifle. And like any kind of bullpup that is not created with the ambidextrous design in mind, this rifle cannot be used by the left-handers because you would have a full mouth of brass after firing.
Very nice. By the way, we can't see your mouse, so you're gonna have to be more with your camera if you want to point things out.
Well, I did not want it to point the mouse.
Okay.
Sorry. Just like the normal Kalashnikov rifle, Groza is not the lightest gun, and being the bullpup means you would have a lot more of metal being on the rifle. So, if not for a shorter barrel, the rifle would have been almost as heavy as Kalashnikov rifle. But it was kinda used in Second Chechen War, and it was used a lot in the counter-terroristic operations in Dagestan, in Chechnya in early 2000s, when it was decided that OC-14 is the very bad design and we don't want to go with it, because we have the new kinda refurbished compact semi submachine gun, semi assault rifle, kinda personal defense weapon gun called SR-3M. So SR-3M, as you can see, is pretty much reminiscent of AS-VAL, and it is almost the AS-VAL by itself, but it has some differences. So first of all, it has the normal non-perforated barrel, unlike the AS-Val, so it does not vent gases, and the bullet has a bit more of initial speed, initial velocity at the muzzle end, and the SR3M is a bit shorter and a bit handier than the normal AS-Val due to having a nice long frontal handguard and the frontal vertical foregrip on the SR3M variant. SR3 just had a AS-Val front grip. By the way, this rifle is fed with the 30 round magazines because it was developed not to be a stealthy kind of gun for a covert ops behind the enemy lines, but more of a diplomatic and VIP security gun. So you'd have a lot of firepower at a very short distance with pretty low chance of over-penetrating stuff because of the PUB 9 ammunition developed for this gun. It is interchangeable with any kind of 9x39 gun, but it was developed specially for the SR3M. The reason behind this ammunition is it is acting kinda similar to the open tip. It basically opens up in the target, and it does not overpenetrate, leaving all the kinetic energy in the target. Just like any kinda special forces gun, SR3M can mount a silencer, which makes it even longer than the AS-Val, as you can see. So, any questions for now?
On the Groza, do you have a fire selector near the trigger, or do you have a AK
So
style fire selector?
for the SR3M, AS-Val and VSS Winter S, you have separate fire selector switch, and you would have a separate safety switch. So you would have a safety switch over here, as you can see. So it is just a two-position switch. Up is safe, down is hot, and you have very kinda a hidden fire selector switch over here. So you lift off your index finger and either press or pull the switch to switch between full auto and single shot.
Are you talking about inside the trigger guard?
Inside the trigger guard and behind the trigger itself.
Yeah, that's what I thought I saw. Okay.
Okay, and on the Groza? On the bullpup?
On the bullpup, well,
Do you have the fire selector in the back, or?
well, it is a very kinda strange system. So as I said, on the grenade launcher variant, you have a switch over here, and if you leave it in the middle position, it is going to be safe.
Oh, great.
And you have a fire selector switch over here.
Yeah, the typical AK style.
Yes.
And people say the Russians don't never overcomplicate things.
Well, this gun was developed in 1990s. Give it some love.
Yeah.
As an additional gun for a kinda police special forces, and to be used by the Army Special Forces as a replacement for Orce 14 Groza, the AK-9 was developed. And it looks just a normal AK. The reason why it looks like a normal AK is because it is basically the AK-74 rechambered for 9x39. That's all the difference between AK-9 and AK-74. And unfortunately in armor we only have these kind of visual mags. In real life the AK-9 magazine kinda reminds more of a SR3M magazine. because it is made to be compatible.
Okay.
And another gun, which is also made to be integral suppressed and penetrate heavy stuff, much heavier than the AS-VAL, is the VSSK Vychlop, which is translated as exhaust.
The the exhaust.
Yeah,
Holy fuck.
The fuck is that?
this gun is
Looks
chambered.
like Odin from Call of Duty.
This gun is chambered for 12.7 by 55 millimeter ammunition.
Holy fuck.
In that?
Yes,
No wonder the silencer is so fucking big. That is a silencer, right?
yeah, and the silencer or suppressor is non-detachable.
Oh yeah, is that considered integrated?
Well, you can detach it, but it is not safe to fire the gun without it, because you would barely have 10 or so centimeters of the barrel. The
Oh.
silencer itself is the part of the barrel.
Okay.
And this gun is basically developed to be used against light armored vehicles. Well, by light armored vehicles, I mean Humvee light armored. And infantry in heavy personal protection equipment. So level 5 and higher. Why does the rifle uses basically a 50 cal round? Because having 9mm round gives you not enough kinetic energy to kill the enemy without any kind of second thoughts and additional variants of enemy surviving due to him wearing a very heavy vest. Having a 50 cal bullet flying into an enemy gives you a guarantee that either he is going to be killed by the bullet penetrating the armor, or he is going to be killed by the sheer brute force of the bullet hitting his chest.
That's if his head doesn't explode.
Yeah, if you don't hit his head, because no helmet can protect from this thing. And if you thought that this gun is horrendously overpowered, look at this one. This gun is chambered for the same 12.7 by 55mm ammunition, but it can fire fully automatically and it can mount the underbarrel grenade launcher.
So that's the Odin from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Holy
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah, so the gun in the Call of Duty basically is copied from this one. And strangely enough, it can mount optics. Not like it need ones, but anyway. This gun is developed to be a company for the VSSK Vychlop. So basically kinda relative to the VSSK, just like the AS-VAL is relative to the VSS Vintorez. And these guns were used in the Dagestan in counter-terroristic operations in the 2014 and so on. I found no records of these guns being used in like open combat in the open field, but it shouldn't. It is made for the special operations stuff. And this is not the end.
Oh no. I mean, I guess I should expect this from the very famous Russian overpowered nature, but
Well, this gun is not as stupidly overpowered as the previous ones. It is not integrally suppressed. It is not firing a purposely built ammunition. It is using basically the Kalashnikov magazines. The main thing about these Nikonov Automat pattern 1994 is this rifle can fire single shot, full auto, or 2-round burst, with the 2-round burst being fired at approximately 1200 rounds per minute. So you would have 2 rounds being fired faster than the gun can recoil into your shoulder.
Oh wow. Taking double tap to the next level.
Yeah, and it was developed specifically to increase the chances of hitting the targets at the distances of up to 600 meters with the short bursts. Unfortunately, this gun went nowhere because to be so fast firing in 2-round bursts, it required a special internal mechanism, kinda similar to the autoloader, where you would have the bolt just getting 1 round from the special niche inside the gun, and another round being fed into this niche and ready for the second shot immediately after the first shot being done. So you don't have any kinda additional downtime for the gun to be fed from the magazine, and you don't need your bolt carrier to go fully into the back of the gun, so it does not necessarily need to fully cycle, but it is very complicated and it is very expensive, like almost 6 times as expensive as the compared to the AK-74M.
Not to mention, I assume that every time you cycle that bolt, 2 bullets are going through it. So you trying to clear a jam, you're just wasting wasting half the mag.
Well, not exactly, because
No.
if you're cycling the gun manually, you just dropping 1 bullet.
Okay.
Even if you are in the 2-shot burst mode, you're wasting only 1 bullet when you're trying to cycle the gun. But if you want to reload the gun from the dry state, so you have completely dry gun without any kind of ammo stored inside, you attach the magazine and you need to yank the bolt handle 2 times in a row.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and additionally,
What happens if you don't?
well, you would have no rounds in the chamber.
Well, you'd have 1 round in the chamber, though, wouldn't you?
No.
Just if you pulled it back once.
No, you would have the round sitting inside the special niche.
Ah, okay, got it.
Yeah. So the niche is used all the time, but only in 2-round bursts. The whole system recoils completely, and not the just bolt carrier recoiling independently.
Okay.
So when you're firing 2-round bursts, the barrel, gas tube, everything goes back into the well, inside the gun. So this part of the gun is completely empty, while it is in the inert state. And when you're firing the normal full auto, you're just firing like the normal AK-74 gun. When you're firing 2-round bursts, you basically detach all this assembly from the weapon hull, to say so, and it can recoil on its own. Yeah, it is very complicated. Not to
I
say
imagine.
Is this?
Yeah.
Sorry.
You
I
have
imagine it's really hard to clean also.
yeah, to disassemble it you need to basically have a lot of effort just to open the gun and remove the bolt from it. And
The field strip isn't really an option then, is it?
oh well, you can field strip it, but you cannot assemble it as easily as the Kalashnikov.
Right.
because you need to reattach all the stuff inside, including the basically a small part of wire or cord, if you say so, inside the gun. And to make things even worse, the magazine is canted to the right side.
Eh?
Yes.
Why?
Because you need additional space inside the gun for this niche to exist.
Ah, okay. Interesting.
Yeah, and these made guys on the firing range when this gun was brought for field testing very miserable, because with the Kalashnikov assault rifle you can just have your magazine as an additional kind of support point. You just stick it into the ground and you have kind of monopod in the center of the gun. With the AN-94 it is not an option, like at all. The gun would just fell on the left side.
Do they have a left-hand conversion kit for lefties?
Surely not. And just to show it to you, the sights on these guns are something very different. Well, I don't have adjustable sights on this model for some reason, but it is comparable to the HK drum sight, and as you can see from this perspective, the magazine is definitely canted to the side.
So the double fire, double fire. That system, is it similar to the system they used for the G36? Because I know the G36 has a double fire as well.
No. G36 uses just your normal burst fire system, like on the M16 or HK416. Well, the HK416 basically has the same magazine mechanism inside as the G36. So it uses the ratcheting system when it just counts to 2 or 3, depending on the gun, when the gun is firing, and after that it just does not let the sear to reset and allow the gun to fire again.
Okay.
So it is a completely different system, but to find a comparable gun you would also need to go to the Germans, which had the G11 gun, the German Space Magic gun. I know it is not the point of this lecture, but look at this thing.
What the fuck?
Oh, that thing! I fucking love that thing. Oh, it was brilliant. The magazines are in the front and everything.
Gauss rifle.
Yeah.
300 rounds on one rifle.
I know.
So this rifle is using like the clock mechanism inside with a proprietary 4.6, if I remember correctly, millimeter caseless ammunition, and the AN-94 uses standard 545 millimeter Kalashnikov ammunition. So you gotta lose some, you gotta gain some.
Yep.
And we're probably going for pistols for now. And this gun is probably known to some of you. I'm going to ask what is this, and if you don't know, I'm going to continue. I guess you don't. So the gun in front of you is the specialized, integrally suppressed 6P9 Soviet self-loading pistol. And as you might have already guessed, it is made for the GRU operators. Specifically for kinda undercover operations and the marksmen slash snipers. This gun, despite looking hell a lot like a PM, is not a PM, because you would have a whole recoil system inside the pistol grip, not inside the barrel shroud, because up here you would have an expansion chamber to have the normal PM supersonic ammunition go subsonic, and you have a kinda silencer in front that actually makes the firing sound a bit quieter. Well, not exactly a bit, a lot quieter. By the way, it uses the same ammunition as the Makarov, so 9x18. Any questions about this stuff?
When you say
Yeah.
the recoil system is in the grip, does that mean that
Yeah.
the slider doesn't
Yeah.
actually move?
It moves, but it interacts with the springs inside the handguard via some kind of well, mechanical connection, just like on the Scorpion. So on the Scorpion you would have a recoil spring over here, and you would have a specialized how's it called? Raid governor in the grip, so it would not allow the gun to cycle as fast as it could. Same goes for the 6p9, but instead of not allowing the gun to cycle very fast, it actually forces the gun to cycle. If you remove the spring from here, it is just going to be a single shot and not self-loading gun, just like the Velrod of the British Special Forces from the Second World War.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
A 6p53, which is kinda strange gun, because it was developed for the police special forces and army special forces as well, and it is designed to be used against targets in the armored vests up to level 3 vests, not including level 3 actually, and it has 18 rounds in a single mag. So kind of high capacity anti-armor pistol, not very popular in any way because it was quickly replaced by the Grudge pistol. First of all, this gun is pretty expensive on its own, and second, it uses proprietary 9x21 ammunition, which is kinda, first of all, high power, and second, you need to kinda buy it specifically for this gun, which fucks up logistics very heavily. And another one, just since we are over here. This is not a weapon definitely, but it is an interesting piece of kit, so you can use the periscope to look over the obstacle without actually exposing yourself. I'm going to show you how this works. Let me just switch to the 6p9 and go for the binocular variant with the PAP enabled. So we switch into a binocular, we sit behind this block for example, and as you can see, I can see these targets clearly, but going into the camera, wait a second, yeah, it kinda broken, sorry. So actually no one can see you if you are behind the cover and using the periscope. Sorry for breaking the arsenal, I don't know what is wrong with it.
Maybe a third person?
I didn't use the third person.
Okay.
So you all guys know the currently used by the 2BNB HK416 underwater gun?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it is real or not, but I sure know what is completely real, and this gun is. It is the APS. Do not confuse it with the APS, which is a Stechkin automatic pistol, or the active protection system, whatever you pick first. This is the Автомат подводный специальный, which is translated as the underwater specialized assault rifle. And the reason it has such strange mag is because it has very strange bullets, to be sure. Instead of a normal, like the rifle bullets, it uses very long nails, and to accommodate for these nails you have this big portion of the mag, and this small one is just to accommodate for a spring inside the magazine. And just like any other underwater weapon, this gun is not completely usable on the beachhead if you exit the water, because, well, the nail ammunition, while being completely fine underwater and allowing you to fire on the distances that you cannot even observe underwater, nail bullets in the air are not stabilized as good as in water, and they just starting to bounce off and not going to hit anything past 20 meters. And
Jeez, you might as well stab the guy.
yeah. And as the accompanying gun for this one, there is an underwater pistol that was developed for the Soviet divers. Let me find it. Here it is. So it is
4 nails?
Yeah. So it is a 4-shot pistol, and to remove the need to cycle the gun underwater, which is a very difficult task on its own if you're talking about the pistol, because you need to have a very long ammunition. They just went for a open top gun with 4 barrels. It is
Simple solution.
yeah, and it is a common design in the world for the underwater pistols. For example, the German, if I remember correctly, P5 uses the same type of feeding system, but instead of being openable from behind and you have full chambers that you can drop ammunition inside, it has a detachable barrel block with with 5 barrels that you can just remove from the gun and attach another one. Kind of very strange gun. Unfortunately, we don't have one in the Arma 3. And for the small arms currently represented in Arma 3, I think that's all. At least for the Op 1. If you want, you can ask some questions if you still have any.
So, with the one that's firing nails, does it actually have any explosive discharge that happens? Or is it actually just propelling them through spring?
They are using the standard Kalashnikov cartridge casing with the specialized counter-propellant inside.
Okay.
So, pure mechanically, this gun is pretty similar to Kalashnikov.
It just fires nails instead. Are these long nails? Like, how long?
Well, pretty long,
Good night.
about 5 centimeters each. Maybe even longer. I don't remember the exact length of the nails.
So it's a specialized nail gun made for use underwater.
Yes. Just like
Aye.
any kind of underwater ammunition.
Do you know the effectiveness of these nails putting 2x4s together?
Just go underwater and start building a house.
To answer your end, I just searched it up. It's 12 centimeters in
12
length.
centimeters. Well,
Leaf.
Yeah, my memory is kinda iffy. And I kinda forgot about one gun, which is not very special, but anyway, kinda interesting one. Probably everyone knows about it.
Is that a God damn it, what's it called again? Circular? Fuck the magazines that go around
Yeah.
in circles instead of
Yes.
Helix.
Yes.
Cool.
Nothing very special about this gun. Pure mechanically, it is based on the AKS-74U, but instead of using the 545 by 39, it uses the standard PM ammunition and feeding from the 64 round helical magazine underneath the barrel. This project was not effective at all, and it was ditched, if I remember correctly, in the beginning of 2000s.
Do you know what the reasons for ditching was?
Well, the helical magazines are not exactly known for a high, uh, let's say, user-friendly interfaces, and they are not very reliable. And by user-friendly, I mean the standard box magazines are not tend to unload into your face while you're trying to stick another round inside.
Uh,
Have you ever saw the GIF that basically has a guy trying to uh, show the completely assembled Bison magazine with the rounds inside, and when he just gently puts the magazine on the table, this gun just squirts the rounds everywhere.
no, but that must be make for a funny picture.
Yeah, it did. Well, if you're up for something else, mm, let's have a little talk about the AK-12. I mean this AK-12, which is the now known prototype AK-12 or AK-200, which was the project to replace the AK-74M, and it was just as always developed for the Russian Ministry of Defense request, and this gun featured some kinda unusual stuff for the Kalashnikov rifles. So first of all, this gun is completely symmetrical. You have bolt accessible on both sides. I should probably show one from the apex because it has actual bolt handles. Give me a second. So you can access the bolt either from the right or from the left side, and the safety slash fire selector mechanism is also completely ambidextrous and accessible with your thumb. So what you here have is the full auto, semi-auto, and 2 round bursts, not the same 2 round bursts as the AN-94. They are just your normal, with the normal rate of fire 2 round bursts. And of course, as you can see, the gun is covered with the Picatinny rails. That's thanks to the top cover being not only just stuck inside the gun with the little spring holding over here, it is held in place with the specialized pin that does not allow the top cover to wobble around, which was the big problem on the previous guns like the AK-74, AKM, which does not allow for mounting on top of the top cover directly. So, like, just to compare for, let's say, 416, you have the top Picatinny rail, and it has no kind of elements directly underneath the Picatinny rail that can wobble around and basically break your aiming. For the Kalashnikov it is not the case because, well, you have the top cover that is held in place by having this small button in the back being held with the spring, and you would have two lugs over here that hold the top cover in place but also allowing it to wobble around. So that was the major problem of the Kalashnikov rifles. If I remember correctly, AK-200 also featured an independent barrel. So on the previous guns, if you kinda try to, you know, have a point of balance over here underneath the handguard, just sticking your gun against a tree stump or maybe a wall, it would bend the barrel. On the AK-12 it is not the case because the barrel is moving freely inside the handguard, kinda similar to the HK-416 or M4 Block 2. Any questions about this stuff?
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that the barrel ever bent because of that.
Yeah, it bends, not too much, but it is certainly going to sum up after years of service. That you need to
Okay.
basically resight the gun maybe after 5 or 6 years. And as an additional note, if we're going about the vanilla guns, here is the one that is derived from the real life SVD, and let me just show it to you. So this gun is supposed to be the SVDK project, where the K stands for крупнокалиберный or high caliber. This project started in the beginning of 1980s when the first of all Soviet special forces and Soviet military command decided that 7.62mm ammunition that is normal for the SVD is not powerful enough if we're engaging an enemy behind the cover or the enemy in the heavy personal protection. So there was an effort made to develop a marksman rifle for the Hunter 9.3mm cartridge, and this rifle was developed and tested under the designation of SVDK. Just like with the project of AR-10 to rechamber it for something bigger, this project went to nowhere in terms of military service, and unlike the America, where you would have people actually contracting some weird guns and having custom AR-10s with 338 barrels chambered for 338 rounds. In Soviet Union you would not have these kind of guns, and this project called Vzlomshik went to nowhere. Surely it is still being around with the widespread of 338 ammunition on the Russian private market. So you'd have some companies getting the Tiger carbine, which is the civil version of the SVD, and rechambering it for the 9.3mm cartridges. Of course it is not the safest gun to shoot, but it is pretty capable gun if you want to kill someone standing behind the car 1.5 kilometers far from you.
Yikes.
Yeah, that's pretty much yikes.
When did they finish development or stop development on it?
Development,
Recently?
well, not exactly. Development was carried on in the Russian Federation, but it was curated only by the Special Forces Department because Armed Forces branch got its financial reserves cut down significantly, and when this stuff started falling apart for the Special Forces Department as well, they said, well, this gun is not going nowhere.
Alright.
So, kinda early 1990s, this gun met its demise.
Oh, that's a shame.
Surely it
Well,
is.
I say that, but actually probably a good thing for us, but anyway.
Well, not exactly, because Russian snipers are currently arming with the, not counting the British rifles, and specific aftermarket modifications of AR-10. They are getting armed with the Orsis rifles and the how's it called, SVLK rifles, which are chambered for 338, 408, 12.7 and 14.5 millimeters. Of course, these are special forces snipers, but these guns are very powerful. If I remember correctly, if I remember correctly, SVLK-14 is the rifle that got the record for shooting 4.7 kilometers far. Any questions?
Not on my end.
Vest?
Nope.
Me neither.
Well,
None on my end.
if we finished talking about specifically Russian guns, here is the kinda weird gun that we can call why the fuck do you ever exist?
Yeah, the knockoff foul.
Not exactly. These, I'm talking about this one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Isn't that the Chinese
It's
or ripoff of the AK?
Yeah, it is the Chinese license produced AK. Yes, Chinese actually acquired, well, Chinese production factories actually acquired a license to produce Kalashnikov assault rifles before the Soviet and Chinese split their ways. And what is interesting about this rifle in particular, while it is copying the AKE-47 AKM kind of rifle, it has the folding stock, and this brown part of the stock holds inside the special tools for cleaning the gun, unlike the, let's say, Kalashnikov assault rifle. Let me quickly find it somewhere. So for the AKM, you would have the same kind of tooling hidden inside this part of buttstock.
That is 100% where the officer would be putting his whiskey or vodka in this case.
It is too small. If you want to put,
I'm sure.
mate, if you want to put something, if you want to put something inside the buttstock, go for a AKS-74. You have a lot of space over here.
Yeah, but
Russians always find a way, don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you put two personal aid kits on both sides of the buttstock, you would not only protect your vodka, but you also make aiming a bit less harmful for you, because it is going to be much softer.
I
Yeah, it is.
feel like you've got personal experience with this.
I had personal experience with the Kalashnikov buttstock on the pneumatic rifle. Fuck my life, I don't want to use it again. Because it was in the summer and it was hot as hell. The wooden buttstock is definitely better in these terms. But it is a common practice for the Soviet and Russian forces after Afghanistan. If you're armed with either AKS-74 or AKS-74U, because they share the same buttstock, you put a personal aid kit inside the buttstock, because it has these kinda barrels inside, so it would hold inside on itself. And you take 2 or 3 tourniquets and basically wrap them around the buttstock. That would, as I said, not only make it less harmful to aim, but it would also give you a quick access to the tourniquets and personal aid kit.
Useful.
Yeah. Speaking about the T5000, the Orsis rifle. Give me a second. So that's how it is supposed to look. And the rifle is chambered for 338 Lapula Magnum. So it is a nasty round with a nasty rifle.
Looks quite minimal too, so it must be quite lightweight comparison to other rifles of the same type.
Do you mean comparing to?
Well, I mean, you got less buttstock to work with and a less overall body. It looks quite minimal.
It is kind of minimal compact. In real life, the T5000 is produced by the basically private company, and you can order any kind of aftermarket stuff to put onto the rifle, starting from the wooden furniture and ending up with the skeletonized rifle. So it is
Okay.
not a standard issue kind of variant. As I said before, T5000 is issued for the Special Forces snipers, and they can buy some stuff for themselves. So, any questions about the stuff we just talked about?
Nothing for me.
No.
No, not really.
So, for the small arms, I guess it's going to be all. Another, just a small interesting side story. You know the vanilla RPG 42, as it is called in vanilla, and in Ace it is called RPG 32. Just like in real life, this anti-tank grenade launcher is developed by the joint efforts by the Jordan and Russian Federation, and it is actually produced in the Jordan on the factory that is built on the Russian money. Yeah,
So it truly is a partnership.
yeah, it is. Most of the job being done by the Russian side, of course. The Jordan
Of
side
course.
made some like development effort in terms of standardizing stuff and kinda fire control system, if you can say so, for an unguided grenade launcher.
Cool.
They don't.
So, speaking about the interesting stories, as you can see, the barrel in the PKP is not directly communicating with the outside world, but via these small windows in the heat guard. I'm going to ask a question that you would probably think completely unrelated. Has anyone ever saw the Lewis machine gun?
You mean the M60?
No, the Lewis machine gun, the British machine
Ah,
gun
the
of
Lewis. Oh,
yeah,
sorry.
the First World War machine gun made by British forces. Well, not the British
Eh,
forces.
hold on, the one with the mag on top,
Yeah.
from the top
Yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought why does it have these big stuff over the barrel?
To protect your hand from the heat of a barrel.
Well, not exactly.
Okay.
The thing is, you have these shielding around the barrel, and you have these ribs on the barrel itself. And while you're firing, you're creating a lot of hot gases going out from the barrel, which creates a zone of negative pressure around the muzzle. And knowing the laws of physics, if you have negative pressure somewhere in the air, you would have a flow of air from the zone with the higher pressure. And coincidence, the zone of high pressure is going to be somewhere around there on the opposite side of the barrel. So you would have a natural kinda air circulation system. You would have an air coming from these vents going along the ribs inside this heat guard and venting outside, which makes barrel not as quickly heat not as quickly heating up as the PKM barrel does. Unfortunately, this means that PKP does not have a quickly detachable barrel. Not like you would need one. It is stated that the barrel can fire up to 1000 rounds without suffering any kind of damage and without giving any time to cool off. Any questions on this point?
No.
No.
Well, I guess that this is going to be it for this Sorta lecture. Thank you everyone who attended. Sorry for kind of fuck ups tonight.
That
And
was good. Thanks, Squad.
well, it surely as hell could have been better. Thank you for coming, and as always, this recording is going to be on the YouTube channel. See you later.